Myself Dr. Jitin Rajan, and today we will discuss heart block in a very simplified manner, and it would be especially useful to beginners who are new to ECG reading. So what is heart block? So simply heart block means a block in the conducting system of the heart. So heart block simply means a block in the conducting system of the heart, that is a block in the rhythm producing system of the heart. So there is an obstruction in the electrical conduction in the heart, okay, and according to the level of obstruction of impulse in the conducting system, they are classified into different subtypes. But before going to the heart block, I would suggest you to go to my video on normal waves and segments of ECG. This would make the basics very clear. So this is the normal conducting system of the heart, or the normal pathway, beginning from the SA node, then the internodal atrial pathway, then the AV node, then the right and left bundle of His, then the right and left bundle branches, then the left bundle branch divides into anterior and posterior fasciculae, and eventually they divides into Purkinje fibers. So heart block are classified and studied according to the level of block in the conducting system. So heart block are classified and studied according to the level of block in this normal conducting system. So if there is a block in the discharge of impulse from the SA node, it is called SA nodal block. If there is a block in the conduction of impulse from the AV node, it is called AV nodal block. If the block is at the level of bundle branches, they can be divided into right bundle branch block or a left bundle branch block. Or if the block is at the level of anterior and posterior fasciculae, they are called hemiblocks. So if the block is at the level of SA node, it is called SA nodal block. If the block is at the level of AV node, it is called AV nodal block. And if the block is at the level of bundle branches, they are called right or left bundle branch. And if the block is at the level of anterior and posterior fasciculae, they are called hemiblocks. So in today's video, we will confine our discussion to SA nodal block and AV nodal block, and in the next video we will discuss about the bundle branch block and hemiblocks. So first, SA nodal block. So what is SA nodal block? So the SA node might produce impulse, but the impulse might not come out. So the SA node is producing impulse, but the impulse is not getting out. This is called SA nodal block. So what would be the ECG? So the ECG would be something like this. I will draw the ECG of SA nodal block. So this would be the ECG. Okay, this would be the ECG would be something like this. So many of you might have find out the change. So the SA node is producing impulse, but occasionally the impulse produced by the SA node will not be transmitted. So as we can see here, there are P waves, but occasionally there is no production of impulse. Okay, occasionally the SA node might be producing impulse, but it is not transmitted, leading to a flat baseline, followed by the next impulse produced by the SA node would be transmitted, followed by a normal ECG pattern. Okay, so the SA node might produce impulse, but the impulse is not coming out. This is the finding of SA nodal block. Okay, so occasionally there would be P wave followed by QRS complex, but among them there would be segments where there is no P wave followed by a QRS complex. So this is the ECG change of SA nodal block. Of course, there are other technical things, but we are going with the very simple version of heart block. Okay, so we will not go into the details. Then we are going to the AV nodal block. So as we discussed earlier, AV nodal block means there is some obstruction in the conduction of impulse at the level of AV node. So there is obstruction at the level of AV node. So the AV nodal block, are of three types. They are of three types. They are first degree Hart block, second degree Hart block, and third degree Hart block. So the AV nodal block, that is the block at the level of AV node, are of three types: first degree Hart block, second degree Hart block, and third degree Hart block. So let's see what is first degree Hart block. Okay, so the ECG of first degree Hart block would be something like this. So the ECG of first degree Hart block would be something like this. So many of you might have noticed the change. The change is in the PR interval. The PR interval is prolonged. Okay, you can see the PR interval would be greater than 0.2 seconds. The PR interval would be prolonged. Normally the PR interval should be less than 0.2 seconds. The PR interval would be greater than 0.2 seconds. So what does it mean? It means that waves are propagated from the atrium to the ventricle, but there is a delay. There is a delay in conduction of impulse that lead to a prolonged PR interval. So the waves are propagated from the atrium to the ventricle. The waves are propagated from the atrium to ventricle, but there is a delay in conduction of impulse that lead to the prolonged PR interval. So prolonged PR interval means the PR interval would be greater than 0.2 second. This is the ECG finding of first degree Hart block. So coming on to the clinical significance. So what is the clinical significance of first degree Hart block? So the clinical significance is that they are not in itself important, but they signifies some electrolyte disturbance, digoxin toxicity, coronary artery disease, rheumatic carditis. You might recall that rheumatic carditis, the Jones criteria, the modified Jones criteria for diagnosing rheumatic fever, one of the minor criteria for diagnosing rheumatic fever is first degree Hart block or prolonged PR interval. So first degree Hart block, the clinical significance is that they are of not much importance, but they signify some electrolyte disturbance, digoxin toxicity, rheumatic carditis are the minor criteria for diagnosing rheumatic carditis according to rheumatic fever according to modified Jones criteria. So this is all about first degree Hart block. Now moving on to the second degree Hart block. So the second degree Hart block. So the second degree Hart block are of two types. Okay, the second degree Hart blocks are of two types. First is the Morbitz type 1, second one is the Morbitz type 2. Morbitz type 1 and Morbitz type 2. Morbitz type 1 is also called Winkie-Bax phenomena, or it is also called two-way block. So Morbitz type 1 is also called Winkie-Bax phenomena or two-way block, whereas Morbitz type 2 is also called 2B block. So first let us see what is Morbitz type 1. So the ECG of the Morbitz type 1 would be something like this. So this would be the ECG. Okay, this is the ECG of Morbitz type 1. So what is the change? So you might have noticed there is progressive increase in the PR interval. So there is progressive increase in the Peer interval. So in Morbitz type 1, the Peer interval is just prolonged, but in the type 1 heart block, first degree heart block, there is the Peer interval is prolonged, but in Morbitz type 1 there is progressive increase of Peer interval. Then there would be a failure of conduction. Okay, so initially P wave are followed by QRS complex. There is just a prolonged Peer interval, but eventually there would be a P wave that would not be followed by a QRS complex. This is the typical ECG finding of Morbitz type 1. That is, there is progressive increase of Peer interval, then there is a failure to conduct. So this is the second degree heart block of subtype Morbitz type 1, also called two-way block or Winkie-Bax phenomena. Okay. Now let us see what is Morbitz type 2. So the ECG of Morbitz type 2 would be something like this. This would be the ECG of Morbitz type 2. So this is the ECG of Morbitz type 2. So what is the change? So you might have noticed there would be P waves, but occasionally there would be a P wave that would not be followed by a QRS complex. So suddenly there is loss of QRS complex. So the difference between Morbitz type 1 and type 2 is that the PR interval, there is in Morbitz type 1, the PR interval, there is a progressive increase in PR interval. Eventually there would be a P wave, would not be followed by a QRS complex. But whereas in Morbitz type 2, there would be P wave followed by QRS complex, but suddenly there would be a P wave that will not be followed by a QRS complex. So that's the difference between Morbitz type 1 and Morbitz type 2. So Morbitz type 2 can be of different types. It can be of subtypes. They can be of 2:1 or 3:1, even 4:1. So what does that means? Morbitz type 2 of 2:1 type, 3:1 type, 4:1 type. So this simply means that 2:1 means 2 P wave per QRS complex. 3:1 means 3 P wave per QRS complex. So these are the subtypes. So I will draw example of 2:1 type. 2:1 type of Morbitz type 2. So this is the example of 2:1 type of Morbitz type 2. You can see there are 2 P waves, then 2 P waves for every QRS complex. This is the subtypes. This can be of 2:1 type, 3:1 type, or 4:1 type. This is all about Morbitz type 2. So what is the clinical significance of this second degree heart block? The clinical significance of second degree heart block. So first degree are considered to be trivial, but second degree. So among the second degree, Morbitz type 1, this one, the Morbitz type 1 is considered to be a benign condition. Okay, Morbitz type 1 is considered to be benign condition, usually transient, and they usually go away. So Morbitz type 1 is considered to be a benign condition, usually transient, going by itself. But Morbitz type 2, this one, Morbitz type 2 is usually permanent and can become fatal. So Morbitz type 2 is usually permanent and can become fatal by leading to complete heart block and has to be treated by some sort of pacemaker. Okay. So this is all about second degree heart block. Moving on to third degree heart block. So third degree heart block are also called complete heart block. So as the name suggests, third degree heart block is also called complete heart block. So why they are called complete heart block? Because no impulse is transmitted from atrium to the ventricles. They are called complete heart block because no impulse is transmitted from atrium to the ventricle. Atrium and ventricle contract independent of each other. There is complete atrioventricular dissociation. So there is a normal atrial contraction, but electrical impulse failed to go to the ventricle. Okay. So what would be the ECG finding, or how would the ECG look like? So I will draw the ECG of third degree heart block. So it would be something like this. So this would be the ECG of third degree heart block. So what we see here, so there are P waves. Okay, there are P waves. These are the P waves. Okay, and there are QRS complex also. These are the QRS complex. So you can see the P waves and the QRS complex are independent of each other. So the atrium are contracting. There are 3 atrial contraction followed by a ventricle contraction. They are beating independently. Okay, so this will be the ECG finding. So the atrium are contracting and the ventricle are contracting independently. So in normal ECG, every P wave is followed by a QRS complex, but here there is no such association. And the ventricle contraction here, the ventricle contraction is produced due to some ventricular escape rhythm, not by an impulse transmitted by the atrium. Okay, so the ventricle contraction here is produced due to some ventricular escape rhythm, not by the impulse transmitted by the atrium. That's why the width of the QRS complex would be greater than normal, because they are produced due to a ventricular escape rhythm. Okay, so what's the clinical significance of third degree heart block? So the clinical significance is that it is a fatal condition. So usually it is seen in usually it is seen as an acute phenomena in patients with acute MI or due to some fibrosis around the bundle of His, and it can lead to syncopal attack due to decrease in cardiac output because the heart is not contracting and functioning properly. Okay, so this is all about third degree heart block. So this is all about the heart blocks, the SA nodal block, the AV nodal block, and the different types of AV nodal block. Thank you.